Hello everyone. Today we're going to be looking at the repair of a Whirlpool Duet Dryer. It is currently throwing out the F-01 error, and after looking it up and doing some research, I found out that this is a problem with the main board on the inside. Right now, here is a picture of the top of the dryer off. I'll explain how to get that off in a little bit, but you can see where the board is. We'll be disassembling those wires. Really self-explanatory. Just remove the two screws on top of this metal plate that's over the drum, and it make it a little easier to get things apart. And then you just carefully push on the clips, and those wires will come right off. So we'll be getting into that in just a minute. But first, let's look at what caused this. I came in one night and there was no power to my laundry facility. Didn't quite make much sense. My lights wouldn't come on, and porch light, even just outside the laundry room, wouldn't come on. Reset the breaker, and when we went to try to dry some clothes, it wasn't working. It gave us an error on the front of the machine, F-01. Didn't get a picture of it. I just went ahead and started researching on how to fix this problem. But as you can see, all we got to do is remove the top, and right there's the board. We'll be taking that board out and looking for the problem. And just to clarify, what caused this problem was power surge to the house. I'm not sure what caused the power surge, but when that power surge hit, it flipped the breaker. But before flipping the breaker, it kind of zapped my dryer. Thankfully, it didn't zap it to the point where it was not functioning at all. It does turn on, but it does not run. So let's get down to it. Alright, before we get started, first thing I want to mention, the only thing that we're going to use to do this repair is a simple ratchet and a 6.5 millimeter socket. That's the only thing that you need to get these little screws off. There'll be 3 in the back. We'll explain that in a second. But that's all you need. And then the rest is just wires. Okay, so you can see now that the top is off. It's pretty self-explanatory. There's 3 screws along the top back of it. Just remove those with that ratchet that I mentioned before, the 6.5 millimeter socket and small ratchet. Just remove those screws and just kind of push down on the top and pull it on back, and that's all there is to it. Then it will expose what you've seen before. The wires are pretty self-explanatory. They will not plug in to anything else but what they're supposed to plug into, which is really nice. The board here screws in right there and right there. That's all there is to it. Just remove that, and it'll help it, a lot easier getting the wires out and getting that board out. So if you ever have any questions, always take pictures before you start or anything. But the wires there, like I said, they will only plug into one place, so you don't have to worry about plugging those back in the wrong place. That red wire is color coded. It's pretty self-explanatory on that board where it goes. So let's go check out that board real fast and see what it looks like. Alright, and here we go. This is the board taken out that was on the metal piece across the top of the drum. And here's the actual computer board, the main board, and right there's the problem. We can see that the soldering that was on there has been blown to pieces. Looks like it's been blown apart there. And but what we have to do is get a soldering iron and reapply some fresh solder. But before we do that, we need to make sure we clean that up really well. Get all that debris off of there. It definitely had an explosion, that's for sure. But luckily, a little bit of solder should fix this problem. The soldering iron I used to repair the board is the Weller Standard Duty 25 watt soldering iron. The really nice thing about the soldering iron is it has 3 LED lights to help you be able to see what you're soldering. That's always a nice thing to do. You want to have lots of light and especially a good steady hand. But this particular soldering iron, not only does it come with the built-in LED lights, it plugs into the wall, and it also comes with some solder and a little kit, a little stand. It's a pretty nice set. It only costed about $23 at Lowe's. But I didn't use the solder that came with the package. I wanted something a little bit more geared towards what I was doing, and so I picked up for about $10 some electrical rosin core solder. It's lead free and silver bearing. It's worked out really well. It took a few minutes for this soldering iron to heat up, and but once I applied the heat and applied the solder, it took right to the board, and I was back on to reassembling everything. Alright, now you see I got this back end right here. Screw it in right there. This little cover plate goes on right here, and these wires can go on top because they don't fit too well underneath. So just make sure everything's still secure from moving it around. This one here, this red, underneath it does match up. The prong underneath it is actually a different color. But you might always want to take a picture before you disassemble anything. If you have any questions, you can go back on that picture and make sure you got everything hooked up. Don't forget your main wire here that tells the front board what to do to the board inside. So here we go. I'm going to test it out one more time. First of all, let's plug it in. Be right back. Okay, now I've already plugged it back in. As always, you want to unplug things before you work on them, especially electronics, or take the batteries out if it's a battery operated equipment. But this is a dryer, we want to unplug it. So everything's back together. Okay, that's normal. There you go, that's all there is to it. Put the top back on and call it a night. Real quick, I just want to say that the actual repair time on a project like this may vary. However, it shouldn't take any more than 15-20 minutes if the problem is indeed the solder joint blown. If you have all the tools needed, such as the ratchet socket, 6.5mm socket, and your solder and soldering iron, the repair time won't take long at all. It's just a matter of taking everything apart and reassembling it after you get that new solder put in place.